All right, we didn't even get into the good part of the song, but you know, what's up? What's up? This is your boy Daquan back in here again, and today is 7-11. So if you haven't already, go and get your Slurpee. So a lot of us were concerned about investing completely into the Vestigial organ launcher, and maybe there's going to be some type of nerf to the infinite ammo build or something along those sorts. But we got some really good news. I'll post that up right here, and they're just going to leave us alone. So we're good to go with this. There's some other cool weapons that we're going to be playing around with and putting inside the setup that might flourish a little bit more. Doing some testing, heard some cool old things, and we have a build that we'll be able to take and progress from normal to hard and all the way to beating every boss inside the game. It feels good, it feels fun. We have a DPS version of the build for you today. We have a super duper tanky, like actually immortal, unless you just die, I guess. But an immortal variation of the build that I think you guys will like, that has some pretty good defense, very good. And we're going to get you there from A to Z, especially for the people that have not spent a billion hours inside this game, or a decent amount of money. So let's hop right into it. The infinite ammo build revolves around increased sensory, and you see that our cooldown went down from 40 down to 9.9, and then our duration went from 5 up to 9.3. And when we are able to utilize this, we're able to keep our ammo inside of our magazine and continue to do good old damage numbers. So it will look something like this. So with this, we're able to keep up infinite ammo at the cost of our HP. In order to achieve this, what we are going to need are a good reactor. So this has skill cooldown as well as skill duration up. Then also these modules right here. So nimble fingers, MP conversion, skill extension, and maximize duration. And we have this solely for the cooldown. We don't really use any skill power inside this build for the most part. And if you are lacking in one of these stats, you can throw on another focus on mod. And you can see here we went from that 9 down to 7.5 and 9.3. In reality, this is way too much cooldown and we don't need this much at all. But building up to this point, we may need that. As you are progressing with Gley, don't be afraid to go ahead and swap out some of that duration for that increased HP, as well as some other defenses, so that way you do not look like a random civilian inside of a Godzilla or a Attack on Titan episode. You can plug in pretty much any weapon that you want and then adjust it, so that way you're able to keep that infinite ammo up and do a lot of damage. Now the thing that we're going to end up focusing on today is going to be the Vestigial organ. Tamer, of course, is fantastic, as well as the Eternal Willpower, and we have some other weapons that might even out DPS the organ that we're working on at the moment. So the things that you're looking for this weapon are going to be the element. You can do electric attack, fire, as well as toxin. Works out pretty well. Explosive attack is going to be big. You can go with weak point instead of recoil, or the attribute status effect, and then bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. While inside the launcher, we're going to use these modules right here. These are for the people that do not have the energy activator on. So we have the fire rate up, reinforcement, and action and reaction. And then you go ahead and pick a enhancement that the enemy is weak to. This is going to be your strong foundation. It's going to allow you to go ahead and get up to hard mode and even beat some hard mode bosses. So one thing that I'm sure some people already know, and then some people are going to be like, oh, I didn't know that, was the fact that you can end up adding an energy activator to, let's say, the Vestigial organ, and you end up adding your forma or your polarities over to it. And this does apply to other instances of the Vestigial organ. So you can have one, you see that we have the electric attack, and we have another one right here that has the fire attack as well as Colossus and explosive attack. The critical hit damage is not something great. I just ran out of stuff to roll it. So you can have two of these, and you can lean deeper into elements, so that way you're able to get past the amount of damage that you would be dealing if you just had a more universal one. But of course it's going to be more expensive, so this is going to be for the people that really do like this weapon. And if you're wondering why we do not have crit rate on this weapon, it's because we are at a 1%. And if we add this to it, we get up to a whole whopping 1.218. There are a couple different locations where you can get the Vestigial organ launcher. The one that I typically go to is the previous construct team quarters. You see it here, 50% chance. The mission actually isn't 10 minutes. You can get that done much faster than that. And 9 times out of 10, you might find some people that are doing it at that point in time when you are thinking about grabbing it. Another one that you can actually do is the post over here. And this is a 50% chance. And there's also another location that if you do have a fire character such as Lepic or Blair, we can go ahead and farm it. It is a void fragment. So in the previous video, we were aiming deeper into the elemental side of things for the ultimate build for the Vestigial launcher. This is more so a courtesy that we were putting in because I know some people could not see. And by people, I mean me. I'm people. I could not see when I was shooting at the enemy. I got swung on and, fell over. But that was before the, the whole Immortal build. That was a long time ago. But it was a courtesy and we didn't lean too far into weak point. But now, since we had the build showcased on Moxie's channel, on Willis popped up, and there's been a whole lot of other videos that have been like Reddit, Discord, all that stuff. The build has been showcased. I don't think that courtesy really even matters anymore because other people are just going to be doing the same thing using the launcher until we end up throwing in some new weapons. So we're leaning into weak point now. So you can see here, our original play was just shooting at the feet, and now we are able to shoot at the head, which comes out to be about a 50% damage increase without any weak point increases inside the build. As one would imagine, we now have more weak point. So we have weak point sight, we have real life fighter, which is going to allow us to hit those weak points and add more firearm attack damage, weak point detection. And if you want to add even more to this gun, you can go ahead and add a priority to the enemy's weakness, something like electric priority, although you do not need this inside the build setup at all. And this is almost an extreme, to be honest, because it's not going to give you a ton more damage, but it's going to give you a damage increase. So for our in-game Immortal setup, we have HP Collector, of course. This is going to allow us to get back that HP when we end up killing a mob or two, which is going to allow us to stay inside a frenzy and keep on a loop with infinite ammo without having to drop it, which is very nice. Some options that people have thought would work out well in this build would be something like this. Walker type rope. Now, if this was a variation of this setup utilizing a normal firearm, this would be great. But the launcher does not benefit from this variation of firearm attack. It is very inconsistent with what works for the launcher and what does not work for the launcher. It will say the same thing, but it will not be the same thing. And we'll give some more examples of that as we get to them. So that's an option. And if you feel like you are not getting benefit out of HP Collector at all, then you can go in and throw on Iron Will. And those are going to be your two options for that slot. We have Stem Accelerant, going to give us some more HP. This ended up being like 7% higher than one of the things I had leveled up. I don't recall exactly which one it was, but just double check the values of the mods that you're using, because this started at the exact same thing as the one that I had before, and this gives a full 7% more. But this was featured in the last video, so y'all should be good. Then we have Shield Conversion. Now, Shield Conversion is given 166% more defense. This is something that started off lower and went much higher, so this is going to allow us to be much tankier. Increase HP, of course. Auto immunity is great because it allows us to get that 10.5% incoming damage modifier, which is going to reduce the damage that we ended up taking, and then outgoing, of course, is going to reduce the amount of damage that you are dealing to the enemy. Now, this is great because it works like defense, but defense gets converted into incoming damage modifier. This is just the modifier flat out. Once you get around 40,000 to 50,000 defense, when diminishing returns really start to kick up, and this is going to allow you to bypass that. Instead of throwing on another defense thing like Agony, you're able to jump ahead and add that 10% damage reduction, making you much more bulky. So the Immortal setup does have a delay on the loop because we do not have enough cooldown. It is a little bit of a gap. Honestly, it felt fine going about it the way it is. While the DPS setup has the cooldown, that way things loop a little bit more fluidly and just able to take full advantage of whatever window of opportunity. Still the same general basis, but it is significantly less tanky, but not less tanky to the degree that you're going to feel squishy. It's more so bruiser, while the other one is still a bruiser, but closer to the tank side of things. So rocking the accelerated drive shaft is going to allow us to get that fire rate, which you probably saw at the beginning of the video. That allows us to, shoot fast. And you can just mismatch. You can always put in some stuff from the Immortal setup versus the DPS. and figure out what you like and play out of that. So why are we not using Predator Instinct? So while we are shooting, while in Frenzy, we get a firearm attack increase. Initially, we are going to do less damage with our rockets, and then once we ramp up, we're able to do a little bit more. This pretty much cancels each other out. There are small pockets where it's decent, but for the amount of resources that we have to put into it to not only level, but to put it inside of our module capacity, it is not worth. It is a not too great Transcendent, and a lot of Glay's Transcendents are not that good right now. A potential option for Ultimate Gley is the Explosive Life. Now the reason why that is not on this bill is not only because I don't have it, but because I do not want to torture people in the event of them having to do random matches trying to farm this in Frostwalker. So, thinking about doing a Discord. There have been a couple people that have asked for one. So if you guys are interested in the Discord, go to let me know below. I'll probably do a pinned comment and you guys can like it, and we'll figure out how many people are interested in it. So that way we get a Discord rolling, and let me know what you want inside of it. Also, inside of Access Info, you can find pretty much everything inside of the game from where the external components are, as well as the module. What I did was press M to get to the map screen, and you can type in some different things and find what you need. Speaking of the components, here we have the HP on HP, going to give us HP, of course. Right here we have Polar Night Sensor that's going to give us that HP recovery modifier, which is going to be good, as well as the consumable drop rate increase modifier, which I would say is more important than the HP recovery modifier. So getting more instances of those consumables on the ground to pick up is going to allow us to just be healthy the whole time. Here we have max HP as well as defense, and then some type of resistance. And then here we have max HP along with another resistance. Now, the 2-piece set for this allows you to increase your duration, but you end up swapping this out in order to get some more defense. This had a much better role for me. And I do like the extra HP when I was playing around with it, because you're able to use HP Collector and get 9% of your max HP back, and that felt a little bit better than going down to 22,700 and then 50,000 defense, which I will do real quick to show you. Alright, there we go. Now, the 4-piece set is another instance where the firearm attack damage does not increase the damage of the rocket launcher. So if you are using something other than a rocket launcher, the 4-piece set can be really clean. And ultimately, that is all for the build. If you guys have any questions about anything, please go ahead and let me know below. And if you are interested in when I do upload, you can subscribe to the good old channel. And I will talk to y'all later.